Once you're able to move around the piano keyboard comfortably by either half steps or whole steps, we can combine these two movements together to create tonality. We can recreate the major scale in any key we want on the piano. We can create all 7 harmonic environments of the major scale, depending on where we put the tonal center. And that's really the gateway to improvising over jam tracks and then beginning to build chords and improvising over chord progressions and all the rest. So let me show you how it works. What we're going to do is we're going to use our visual map of the octave, what we call the IFR Tonal Map, which is nothing more than a visual representation of the major scale in any key. But it's important to be thinking about these tonal numbers, to be thinking in scale degrees as you do it. So I'll start on the note D flat. I'm going to make this my 1. And you know from your tonal map drawing that there's a whole step from 1 to 2. So if this is note 1, this has to be note 2 right here. Right, because that's a whole step. From D flat to E flat, we have a whole step, and so if this is my 1, this has to be my 2. From 2 to 3, you know there's also a whole step, so I'm going to go across this little valley here. I have to visualize the whole step from E flat up to F, right? That's a whole step. Now from 3 to 4, you have just a half step, so I'll just go to the very next key on the keyboard, which is this G flat. That's my 4, and you can just kind of review that. Just so we're building the scale as we go and we don't forget what we've already figured out. Although really the most powerful practice of all is to not even worry about what we've already figured out, because from any note on the tonal map, you can always get to any other note just by thinking through the steps that'll take you there. So that's really up to you. But we've figured out so far 1, 2, 3, and now I'm here on my 4. From 4 to 5, that's a whole step. So I'll go to this black key here. That's my 5. From 5 to 6, I need another whole step. From 6 to 7, I need another whole step. That takes me from this black key down here to this white key. That's my 7. And now I just need one final half step to take me back up to note 1 again, which of course is going to be D flat. Now at this point, I would encourage you to not even worry about kind of, learning the best fingering for this scale. I mean, scale fingering is really, that's a separate issue on the piano. The reason why we practice scale fingerings, a particular fingering for a scale on the piano, it's not really so much about learning that scale. It's about teaching the hands efficient ways that they can get across the topography of the piano keyboard. It's about training your hands to be able to improvise their own fingerings in the moment, to be able to move smoothly through whatever phrase you want to play. So by studying major scale fingerings, you're also learning how to articulate really any phrase that you can think of, whether it has chromaticisms, whether it steps outside the major scale, because your fingers are just learning kind of what kind of things they can do and what kind of things they can't do on the piano. And we'll get to that soon enough. But for now, it's really enough to just practice applying the tonal map to the keyboard using whatever fingering is comfortable for you. I just want you to learn to practice seeing those half steps and those whole steps and thinking about scale degrees and tonal numbers while you're visualizing this stuff on the piano keyboard. Let's do it in a different place. Let's start now on, we'll start on E, right? So that's going to be my 1. One last demonstration, whole step from 1 to 2. It's going to take me across this white key up to this black key here. If this is 1, this has to be 2. Notice I don't have to memorize the key signature. I don't have to know how many sharps there are in the key of E or how many flats there are or whatever. I'm just picturing harmony directly on the piano keyboard, that if this is 1, that's got to be 2. If this is 2, I need a whole step to 3. That takes me here. From 3 to 4, that's just a half step. So I'll go to the very next white key, right? Right next to that black key is a white key. That takes me up to 4. Now, it's a whole step up to 5, so I'll go over this black key. That takes me here. That's my 5. I need a whole step to 6, so I'll go across this white key and up to this black key. That's my 6. Another whole step takes me here. That's my 7. And one final half step will connect me back with E, which is where I started, taking me up to note 1 again. So that's what I want you to practice. And in the next video, we'll get into using one of these particular notes as a tonal center. So we'll start to recreate the sounds of the 7 harmonic environments. That's when we'll start working with the jam tracks. But first, just take some time to practice this visualization exercise, visualizing the tonal map and projecting it onto the piano keyboard, starting anywhere.